Hello.
And Graham is with us.
Hi, I'm very sorry.
I was starting to think it's fine. I think given the circumstances, I think pretty understandable.
I've lost my verified tick. So I've locked my account. I don't know if that means that they can still get me, but at least it'll be a little bit harder to report me. I think this is what happens. First of all, you lose your verified tick, and then they get rid of you. So my days might be numbered on the site.
That just shows how corrupt this whole verification thing is. It's just a club.
Yeah, and it also helps. What it helps is now they'll be able to. What they've been doing recently is they've been opening false accounts in my name and changing the username slightly, like with 2 eyes and stuff. So now people won't know whether someone will be able to send abuse as me, and people won't know whether it's actually me sending the abuse, because there'll be no verified tick on theirs and mine. So, so basically, I mean, we always knew this. Twitter is kind of working.
Yeah.
Twitter is so all its engineers are, so many of its engineers are trans-identified. They're putting their thumbs on the scales in this debate. We always knew that they were doing it.
I've always had a bit of optimism because I work in tech, and I've always tried to defend them and say, look, their problems are difficult. I sit there and it's like, and I know how verification, what it does is it also shields you from, because it's in the public interest, they can defend keeping you up. So basically, under their own policies, with that blue check, it's not just, you are who you say you are, but it attaches something that is, you are notable or of public interest, right? So the signal of that is like an unpersoning. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you agree to their framing of the world, then you're their bitch. So
it's astonishing.
The thing I could do is I could lock my account, keep people on keeping their eye out for people sending other people abuse under my avatar, and then we'll see what. We'll see what
so
happens.
This just happened to you. When did you lose the check? I know, because I was DMing you and going, "Oh, where's Graham? I must have forgotten."
When I deleted the tweets, that's how they get you. You see, if you do multiple. If you delete multiple tweets, and I just thought, fuck it, I'll just delete them, because then I'll take a screen grab and post them and show what Twitter's doing, because Twitter has literally banned the word grooming and groomer. I mean, can you think of a more disturbing thing than the people who at the moment have access to the public square are not allowing people to talk about grooming. And grooming exists in so many different ways.
Why would that be?
Exactly. It exists in so many different ways. There's a wider societal grooming that we're all experiencing at the moment, where we're meant to think that women don't exist. That's being, we're being manipulated in that way. And then there's people like Amy Challoner, who, her boyfriend. There's one of the tweets that I had to delete was about Amy Challoner, who is an LG, who is a person who worked for the Greens and then the Lib Dems in the UK, and then went over and glommed onto Elizabeth Warren's campaign. And Challoner's father was a paedophile who tortured a little girl in the attic of his home. And now Challoner is married to another paedophile, and this is the person who is this is the person who created a blockbot, or helped out with this blockbot. I'm not sure what involvement they had. That blocked like 50,000 women on Twitter. So basically, these are very, very dangerous people who are trying to control the conversation as much as they can, and escape detection for as long as they can. It's really frightening when you think about it.
So this literally happened just as we were about to stream.
Yeah.
Mate, you heard it here first. Breaking news on my channel of 2-3 people. It's great, but it's actually streaming to Periscope. I'm just letting you know I'm multi-streaming,
Yeah, whatever.
Because it's streaming on Twitter, and you mentioned the name. Those who are on Periscope, observe what happens, report it back, right?
Yeah.
But also, if there's trolls in the comments, do make sure you report them, because they could come after me now. So that's just fucking whatever. But it still goes to YouTube. I don't care anymore. This is just not fair. This is where I sit there and I go, look, it's all fun and games, right? But this is just not fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are the free folk, from Game of Thrones. We are me, J.K. Rowling, Dave Chappelle, and all the people and all the people who support us and are helping us talk about this stuff. We're the free folk, They are the ones.
Well, I'm not that free. I'm actually quite terrified. I was pacing up and down. It was actually quite funny because you're being late, because I was pacing the hour. I had a risk plan, because that's just how I am. Like, what happens in this scenario? What happens in this scenario? What's my risk strategy for this stream? Do I moderate? Do I not? And that's just the reality that we live in, which is that I am lucky that I can't be cancelled, but I haven't got, because I've got nowhere else to fall. It's not really. It's not because I'm sure it's, you know what I mean. It's not that there's. I've said they could come after anybody around me, and it's just the reality, and it makes you sound crazy.
Yeah.
But watching what's happening to you is just so unfair. Well,
I mean, it's it's just in a way, because I think in the past, I think I had that kind of certainty.
You're hated by everyone. That's
I'm hated by.
That was one thing. The apology tour.
Yeah. No, I mean, I used to be. I certainly held a burning torch at one point, or at a couple of points, and
it's pretty funny. That's a funny thing.
I stand by some of them, but not by all of them. Like there's some moments, like I was talking about Count Dankula, who and I was kind of astonished when I saw that I had kind of you see, I really genuinely believed at the time. I was so frightened by Trump's getting into power. I was really frightened by it. I think, in fact, it was one of the reasons why I went into a bit of a depression. I started taking anti-anxiety medication around that time, because I thought, it was the ultimate victory of the far right, Trump getting into power, and it really, really got me down. So I saw people like Dankula and other people who were, I guess, playing around with those kind of right-wing memes or whatever. I saw them as just, they were just lying. They weren't real jokes. They were just kind of hidden coded messages. I really believed all that, And
so you believed that, yeah.
Yeah. And while I think that's true of some, I think to others,
it's very small.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, a mentor where I've been a year ahead of you. And that thread, what happens is that it's like a thread being pulled. So something happens and that thread just keeps pulling and unraveling, and you go, oh shit, I was wrong on stuff. I was wrong on what, if I'm wrong on this thing, what am I wrong about here? What am I wrong about here? And I'm a better person for it. But it is kind of, because I think I said to you something about Gamergate, and I was like, ease up on that one, because you're going to find out. you're going to see the other side of that one too, which it was,
well, the fucking thing about Gamergate is the people I was allying with hated women just as much as the people I thought I was fighting. You have a lot of people within Gamergate, the kind of super woke types, and they're doing the bidding. I mean, I always talk about it because he's my favorite character in the whole thing, but that super gamer girl guy, do you know that figure? Like his guy is literally he's got a beard, looks like Gandalf. He's a bald Gandalf. And I thought I was defending a girl. I thought I was defending a woman. It wasn't. I was defending this little incel. So once you realize that you've been played, you kind of become you turn into a bit of a wild man screaming in the desert, because you now realize how easy it is for everyone to be played, and everyone's being played.
And you do rebound, right? I've said this to a couple of people. I go, look, the answer to the idiots on the left is not the idiots on the right. They'll be nice to you for about 3 or 4 months and think that you'll claim you and love bomb you and be nice. But no, that's not the answer.
I always thought that kind of equivalence was wrong as well, because I thought that I thought the right were so clearly worse than the left, in terms of racism and sexism and stuff like this. But recently, who's been standing up for women? The right. The left has completely abandoned women, and maybe the right, maybe a lot of elements in the right are just being mercenary and are realizing, oh, we could pick up a few supporters if we pretend to like women, but I think a lot of them aren't. Like, you see someone in the UK like Baroness Nicholson and Jackie Doyle-Price in the Conservatives. Jackie's a lesbian, and she's doing it. She really means it, and there's a real the thing that I'm kind of most hopeful about is that there's a cross-party agreement to protect women's rights. I think that might be happening. I don't know. I'm hoping that's happening behind the scenes,
Yeah. Well, as the creator of the IT crowd, I would say that you're an early adopter of social media and the internet and that sort of stuff. And like, for me, I see now is just this funny. It's a story that you need to tell at some point. I hope you've got it in you, or someone does, or collaborate or something, because this long-range war between Tumblr and 4chan that has been going on for now 2 decades.
Is that how you?
And it is, yeah.
Really?
It's been going on since Usenet. I've been. That's what my book's about. That's what I've been trying to write my book about for 5 years. Which is this crazy war where they're like Age of Empires. The game Age of Empires, where you have or civilizations, where they sit there and they build their towns and they build their church and they build all these things. And every so often they'll touch each other, but they're not quite ready. And then every so often, and the battle. And Gamergate was one of the sort of Iron Age, with the things where they start fighting, and we're still at that part of it. I do see it as a tribal war where sort of
between websites.
Normies don't see it, the history of it.
Yeah.
But it's funny once you detach yourself from it, right? Yeah. I see it as that's been sort of I've been out of this sort of woke feminist when Jezebel went batshit, because I knew the theory. When I saw them like using theory incorrectly about probably 2015, I went, that's not what that means. And then I saw in the comment section on Jezebel, one of the TERFs go to a trans person who was demanding to be censored in the comments, go, fuck you, and link to Feminist Current. And I never looked back, right? It was one of those things.
Yeah.
It was funny. And I was like, oh, I found my people.
But is that what's happening? You feel like this is a culture war between right-wingers on 4chan, or 4chan types and Tumblr types?
Not even that. I think it's a war against counterculture, people who like myself, right? Who early adopters of the internet, socially awkward, creative, love being funny, liked inventing personas, creating, like troll, the old school trolling, flame war, good-hearted stuff. That sort of counterculture against normies who don't get the internet.
Right. Yes.
Right. And sort of the out of Tumblr made it accessible. Again, I'm making generalizations, but I'm saying it's actually more of a normies versus internet purist, internet idealist war. Right. Because what we're seeing right now is that, we have the understanding of the internet was that it was about free speech, freedom of expression, and anonymity, privacy, doxing was not something, it was frowned upon, but sometimes fun, it was just something it was always a bit harmless. And social media came along and started telling us that we couldn't have any of those things. Right.
But how is doxing harmless? How is doxing ever harmless?
It's not harmless. I'm saying it used to be something that used to be like, you piss off the wrong person and a pizza would show up at your door. That was that was more of just a cultural thing, right? Yeah. That was the shift for me. I'm saying we made excuses along the way for certain behaviors that I didn't realize would go to the extremes that they did.
I'll tell you an interesting one that I did sorry. Had you reached, sorry, T, I hope I didn't get your point there. Well, no,
that's all right. I do actually. Can I tell you something that I read about you today, just quickly, because it did make I laugh. I can see the funny side of this stuff, and you must. I don't know if you'll find it funny, right? But someone said that you've tried to paint yourself as the hero king of Woman Mountain. I thought that was great.
Look, I would be happy enough if there was a woman.
Yeah.
I don't need to be king of it.
We're having to go underground.
Look at it every now and again.
We'll have to consult with the International Network of Power Lesbians and have your title of King of Woman Mountain approved. But it is funny. It is, you can't have a comedic brain and not find this batshit.
These guys are very, very angry and upset and jealous because I have so many female supporters, and it's simply because, and the reason I do is simply because there's nothing in this for me. There's nothing in it for me. All I've done is I've made it harder for people to work with me. I've lost my blue tick. There's nothing in it for me. But it's still, and the forces against us are so unbelievably powerful that it just looks like bravery. But the thing is, it's not really bravery because it's. I was on anti-anxiety medication. I just thought, well, I'm not, it didn't seem to bother me. So I kind of decided I realized that I wasn't feeling the fear that I should have been feeling while all this was going on. So I thought I'd use it. I thought I'd use that fact to keep going, because one of the things that they really, really hate is that I won't. There's just very little they can do to me. I had my money from my bollock operation, an insurance payout when I got cancer. And I was able to sit on that while calling trans activists a bunch of pricks, which which most of them are. So it's been
okay, just for the ordinary normies that are watching, we separate trans activism from trans people. There are a number of trans people in the comments right now who are. I interviewed Saran this morning, right, and Fionn and a number of wonderful people.
Saran and Fionn, they know what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about.
Exactly. I just want to know, but it's just more the optics of this, and that's what I wanted to tell you off about, which was the optics and whether that's something. If I had my professional Taya consultant hat on, I'd go, "What the fuck are you doing? The optics of this. Do you know marketing and branding? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm actually saying, I think that's a good question to ask you.
But the optics of what?
Of the trend, I'm saying that all of this, right? Was there a point where you actually started to back down, or what was the tipping point for you where you went, no, this is so important that? Yeah, well, I'm just saying that that's the outside perception.
But the very first, well, the only thing you can do, you can keep.
I don't agree.
No, I know, but you just have to keep presenting the facts, and the facts are, women are being stopped from talking about their rights. The children are being sterilized. Gay kids are being told that they're actually the opposite sex. J.K. Rowling, who says a completely compassionate thing and receives the most vicious abuse I've ever seen, including from people who she knows, people who she made famous, those fucking ungrateful little kids who she made famous. You just have to keep pointing it out how wrong it is. It's wrong. And there's nothing they can do to make it right. They can take away my verified tick. They can kick me off Twitter, whatever they want to do. But in the end, they're wrong. They're wrong. They're morally wrong. They're putting kids in danger. They're setting women's rights back decades. When sometimes I talk about the suffragettes in relation to this, because when you say trans women are women as a literal truth, you're not just undoing second wave feminism, you're undoing first wave feminism. I mean, they're literally talking we've had sex segregated toilets for 100 years, which keep women safe and allow them to take part in public life, and they're talking about taking them away. Do you know what I mean? It's just extraordinary. So I'm
aggressive.
If when you're on this side, I'm sure you know this feeling, but when you're on this side, you spend a lot of time, because so many people are saying you're wrong, not just wrong, but you're a bigot. Then you do spend a lot of time examining it and saying, okay, now hang on, have I missed something? Have I missed something in the way I'm approaching this? And you know, I don't think so. I've looked again and again and again, and all I can see is that it's an incoherent system of thought that benefits grifters, predators, con men, you know, and fashionistas is my new addition to that list. It benefits them. It does not benefit
who would that be?
It does not benefit trans people. But it doesn't benefit trans people because it makes trans people look crazy, you know?
Yeah.
The whole thing is just a mess on their side. And all I can do is just keep pointing that out, you know? And I will fucking go to my grave pointing it out, you know? And they could put me in prison, you know? We will all, me and the people who you know, we'll all go to prison for this, you know? I mean, we're not going to accept it. We will never, never, never accept that 2 + 2 = 5. Never.
No. Yeah. Well, I've renamed myself on Facebook to Taya Winston Smith to make a point.
Yeah. But you know, even that
it will be my last breath.
But these are all people. All these people think they're the heroes. You know, I was talking about Festin recently, the film Festin. I don't know if you saw my.
I haven't seen it. I started to watch a video, but I haven't seen the movie. So
really, really good. But it is like being in that film. You know, during that film is trying to tell this dinner party full of people that his father used to abuse him. You know. And it just doesn't take, and he has to do it again and again. He's very brave.
Yeah,
he has to do it, and people try and support him, and people try and help him get the message across. But you know, it took such bravery to do it the first time, but he has to do it a second and a third time. You know, and everyone looks at that film, and they think, I'm him. I'm the hero. I'm the guy who tells the truth. I'm the guy who stands up. I'm the one who will defend my sister. You know, who is the other. Who is abused, and it's never true. No, you're the guys at the party. You're the ones who ignore him. You're the ones who stop him from telling the truth. You know, so you know it's Anyway, sorry, I'm ranting, and I'm going to have to pick up my daughter in a little bit.
That's fine.
No, another 15 minutes, I think.
That's okay. Well,
we can do this again as well. We can do this again.
We should. Yeah, I think maybe a longer one, because I do what I want to talk about. At some point, is there still any comedy left in this?
Oh God, yeah. No, that's the brilliant thing.
Are you writing? Please tell me you're writing.
Funny enough, I'm up to all I'll say is I'm up to something.
Good.
And the brilliant thing about this fight is that I've done all the research. I don't need to do any more research. It's all been done. And the other brilliant thing about it is there are so many funny people involved in this, you know, so many desperate weirdos. It's like rather, you know, when usually when you're writing a sitcom, you know, comedy characters, you have to find them in a bunch of different ways.
They write themselves.
They're fucking knocking on the door. They're knocking on the door.
It was like when Ricky Gervais just had basically Stefankny on Afterlife. Yeah, that little sort of throwaway scene, and I was like, "Good on you, man."
Jamila, she's a comedy character, you know. So Zayd.
Well, I'd love to see a series that's sympathetic to people who are trying to do the right thing, but they're just not. They're not bright.
Hey,
and they're not clever, and they're dumb. You know, like called wokes, and it's just you're woke as fuck, and it's a sitcom.
Oh,
and it would just be.
Hey! I got my tick back.
Ah, there you go. Hey! Okay, so it might have been algorithmic. It might have just been something that they just
I'm still gonna lock down for a while just to keep them. Well, that's interesting. That means that someone. I wonder if that is an algorithm, or is that someone going?
I think it would be. I think it might actually be something, a security feature, which is where if you're hacked and someone goes in and starts mass deleting posts or trying to do stuff that it might temporarily remove it just in case something.
Yes.
I would imagine that, having done this stuff, I would imagine that, again, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt as much as possible. It's hard, but I really do, like, I don't know. I'm
going to lock down for a while anyway, because it's kind of fun when you've locked down, because you only see the people who are following you. You only communicate to them, and they can only communicate to you. And what's brilliant is that sometimes some of them slip up and say something offensive, and you can block them. And that's them gone forever, But so it's nice. It's like being in a clubhouse with all my followers. So, but anyway.
But you need to go, and it was.
I've got 15 minutes. I got 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, good. All right. What was I going to say? We were roasting in the chat while we were waiting. It was funny.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, "What kind of headline?" No, it's fine. It's funny. I was trying to come up with pink news headlines, like Graham Linehan. I was like, stood up comedy. Linehan strikes again against non-black POC.
My friend Deborah does pink news parodies.
I've seen those. They crack me up.
Very good, but the thing is, he always sends them to me, and I can never enjoy them because pink news's style is so
they're vicious.
No, it's just so shit. They just don't know how to write a headline. They just write the story in the headline. It's really funny, and I just can't. I can't enjoy the parody of it because the original is so. Actually, that is one problem with this when it comes to comedy, is that so much of it is self parodying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's why I was never, no offense to the person who makes it, but I was never a huge fan of Titania McGrath and all that stuff, because for me, it's low hanging fruit. The joke about, I identify as a cup or whatever, it's like, it's too easy, and all you have to do is retweet the actual people. Retweet a Jamila Jamil tweet at random.
Oh my God.
Like the one where she said blind spot was ableist. These people are fucking crazy.
It is funny.
She's cornering.
She's got to be a character.
Exactly. She's cornering herself into a smaller and smaller corner, and she's going to find there's no way out. Like today, she got into trouble because she wrote trans woman instead of trans woman. No, what's the one they wanted to do? We can't repeat.
They want you to do the one with the space. They want you to have trans space woman rather than trans woman, because they're separate words.
Yes.
One of the gender criticals on Reddit was so funny. He said, "Well, I added the space, but they put the space between O and man." That was the greatest. That was the funniest thing. It was the best comeback. You've left out the space, so they went, "Oh yeah, fixed it and added the space." Oh, but what are we going to say about Jamila?
Well, they're just painting themselves into a corner. I mean, another like Richard Herring blocked me recently, and Richard told me that his shows have become unlistenable since basically all these kind of woke, like people like Aisling B and people like this have kind of started coming in and talking about their privilege and stuff like this, and it's like, yeah, you are privileged, you're extremely privileged. You get to go to Groucho Club, where segregated toilets aren't a problem, but there's a lot of people who aren't as lucky.
You're not in a rape shelter.
Exactly. They're in a rape shelter or whatever, but these people, they don't even come on their radar. So you've all these twats self-flagellating about being privileged.
Isn't it sad to watch?
And selling the less privileged down the river.
Isn't it the weirdest thing to watch? It's like you remember South Park, the episode of the cows and the cult, when they all just walk off the cliff. After all of this stuff, and I think it was like episode 2 of the first season, and the cows all joined a cult, the aliens, and they basically just all went and all just walked off a cliff, and it just feels like that. It is really creepy.
One thing, I sometimes felt that South Park was a bit too. Weird thing about South Park is like they have something like 25 episodes every season, so that's so much. Well, it's so much, you're going to have a slump in quality. So the thing about South Park to me is that there's about 6 classics in every series, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I just kind of thought that they were running out of targets, so they were just spraying shit everywhere, you know.
But that's the curse of American, like having to write for like their seasons, right? They stretch it out, right?
But the thing I always, and I always felt back in, you know, I used to feel that they were being disingenuous by saying both sides are as bad as each other, you know. And what I didn't realize is that they probably, you know, after being complained about and all this sort of stuff, they probably saw a side of woke culture that I hadn't seen because I was on the right side of it at that stage. Now I'm on the wrong side of it, and I realized, oh, they were absolutely right. They were absolutely right all along, you know. So it's interesting how these experiences change your perspectives on everything, even comedy, you know.
Well, that's what I find interesting with you, is because I know that for me, I just know the legacy of Carlin's 7 dirty words and censorship and all the stuff. And it all just looked very much like the cancel culture, whatever you call it. Like, I don't like these words, but whatever. But, you know, this sort of SJW cancel culture stuff. It just had looked exactly like what they did to the Dixie Chicks. It looked exactly the same. And I just went, and that maybe that's just because I'm more free speech, like absolute when it comes to the arts. That's why I'm surprised that maybe because comedy people are usually very free speech absolute and go, well, nope, it's free without a doubt. Art has to be free.
Here, my thing is actually it's a wider thing, because like basically what we have is the most incredible change to human consciousness since the printing press. You know, there was a reason things used to be in Latin and you know, information was hard to find. It was because it was easier to control people when information was hard to find. Now information is kind of easier to find, but we realize now that we're being manipulated by another group of people, including people we don't know about. We're being manipulated by the channers. We're being manipulated by the Tumblr people. We're being
30% of your replies are bots.
Yeah, really?
You know,
but when you say bot,
I've looked at it. When or a troll farm or something.
What is a bot? They always sound human.
Well, I would actually argue that I've done quite a lot of research into this, and like it's what's been interesting to me is not how human-like bots can be, but how bot-like humans can be at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like this weird twist on bots, right?
But when you say bots, you mean literally they're
troll farms. You can buy a script on the dark web, right? That's like creates 200 sock accounts. This is what Yaniv did. Like they just bought a script that just they purchased Twitter accounts with followers, and then you write a script that uses the Twitter API. As long as you've got a Twitter developer account, right? You can automate that stuff.
I'd love you to send me
I do a lot of research in this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. But
I actually thought about cancelling myself, making myself trend for a day on purpose to show it could be done, because I've done these things in the past. Like I've, you know, played with these things, but I quite like keeping my account. I don't have a big enough audience to make a stink if I get banned. Right? It's like, oh fuck. I'm still low hanging fruit. Like even talking to you makes me anxious. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to come for me. But you know, I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Oh God,
but I'm in good company if I do.
But you're already out there. You're not.
Well, I'm trying to be. I also know how the rules work. I never reply to anybody. I don't I just play by the rules. I keep it as much as I can. I know.
There's rumored that I misgender people. I don't misgender people. You know, I generally try and be polite. Why would I want to hurt someone's feelings? The only people I ever put, you know, like for instance, I always put quotes around Stephanie Hayden's name, because Stephanie is just one of many aliases Stephanie has had, you know. So it makes perfect sense. And also I'm trying to make it clear that this person is doing it for dishonest reasons.
Yeah.
You know? But I wouldn't do it around Fion's name or
no,
you know, or anyone, or Cyrene. It's just you know. But the thing is, of course, the Twitter algorithms, they can't tell the difference between some of these things, you know. So,
well, I got banned for replying to you with a joke. When you tweeted about Evergreen College, and I was saying what my husband, because my husband's just an ordinary guy, and he just looked at that and he goes, "I hope that fucking canoe sinks." Sorry, and I got because it had signals. So it's all about the signals. So it was you're like flagged as toxic, whatever that means, right? You get a lot of hate, you get a lot of this stuff. It was an @reply. A lot of people with flags in their bios and shit follow me. I'm on Turf Blocker. I'm blocked by X number of people because the purpose of those block lists is to also mass block you so that that sends a signal to Twitter that you are someone that, is mass blocked, right?
Yeah.
So all these things work. We could probably have a longer conversation about this. But, so all of those signals. So it goes to suspension. I got another one for @RealDonaldTrump, send nudes, because I was just being funny. I just try to be funny, right? But the signals work. There's actual signals there. So because I also follow people I disagree with absolutely, like Ben Shapiro and stuff. So I get lumped into weird lists and corners. I'm on the Nazi and the TERF list because I follow like various people.
That's the dream. The double.
Yeah, I'm on like 78. And all I do is the only thing I thought I was going to get banned today because Australia, Allen's Lollies have changed their name. Like we've got lollies called Redskins. I don't know if you get them there.
No.
But they're like they're red suck. They're like a chewable, like Wonka toffee, right?
Yeah.
And they're called Redskins and they're changing Redskins. So I suggested that in order for them to go fully woke, because they're pink and long, I said they should rename them Girl Dick in order to be woke. and because I'm in advertising, I did a quick thing and I mocked it up and I said, suck on this now, ladies. And it's like,
well, you can see how they would.
If you want to be because we all know Nestle is all about social justice.
We can't talk to each other. We can't talk, and the worst thing is we can't warn each other of things. Like that Amy Challoner tweet I had to delete today. Amy Challoner, I believe, is a danger. To people, and I think that the fact that Twitter is forcing you to delete information about someone who may I'm sure Amy's got lots of problems after the father that they had, but people really need to be careful of someone who gets out of a situation like that and then begins a relationship with a male pedophile. Although, sorry, no, not male pedophile. Someone who writes stories about being a male pedophile. Little fantasy stories. Gross. Listen,
that's perfectly fine on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But Tia, I'm going to have to go. But can I make up to you and everyone who is waiting?
We'll do another.
And can we do this again tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I'm around.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do a proper one, everyone. We'll do Verboten 6A. How's that sound?
I'll remember this time. I'll put a thing in my alarm and I can't put my glasses on straight. My head is shaped in an unusual way, so it's impossible to get them on straight. See, that's probably straight now.
Own it.
Yeah.
Own it. Funny.
Graham, this has been suitably pathetic. Keep being a bigot. I certainly will. I'll see you.
Fuck off.
I'll see you tomorrow morning at what time? For me, same time?
Same time. Yeah, 12, whatever.
Yeah. All right. And I apologize to everyone for keeping you waiting. I will.
That's fine.
We're
all
have
good.
A full session tomorrow.
We all agreed to cancel you while you were gone, so it's all good. Yeah, you don't. Whatever.
I gotta go.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
See you tomorrow morning.
Okay. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do a longer session because him and I have a lot to talk about. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Rich, go fuck yourself. Okay. You're not welcome. Okay. You can't go and make a claim and demand evidence of other people. Okay. You made the claim. You provide the evidence. Things are established. You're now going to be banned from my Periscope. Have a lovely day, everybody. Here we go. Rich said we don't have to respond. Go ahead and listen. Do you know what? What I can do is not listen as well because you're a fuckwit. I don't know what you thought we could get out of this. So, love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds and all that jazz. We will be back tomorrow for a proper show. And it's all good. Okay. Ciao.